And joining us today on our Book Talk segment, great to welcome a man who has had a successful series of books, a brand new one out now of his Pike Logan thrillers. We're joined today by best-selling author Brad Taylor. His latest book is called No Fortunate Son, a military thriller. We'll find out all about it. And he joined us by telephone today from up in New York. Brad, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me.
Actually, you're not in New York. You live in South Carolina, right? If I read the notes right?
I do, but I'm actually, I live in Charleston, but I'm on the book tour, so I'm currently looking out the window of a hotel in Dallas.
Oh, Dallas, okay, yeah, that's the life of an author when you do the book tours, right? You're on the phone with guys like me and you're traveling around.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, congratulations on not only this book, but the series of books. Pike Logan is a character that's been pretty good to you, hasn't he?
He has. It's been wildly successful, more than I ever thought it would happen.
Based, I guess, a bit on your life, I would think. You've had a military career in your own right. I guess you take some of your personality in a character like that, don't you, when you write it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's nothing in the book that's anything I've ever done. I'm not, trying to write, I did this in Iraq, so I'll put it over here and call it fiction. But you can't help but use your own experiences when you write a book. I mean, if you're going to write a book about, or write a scene about riding a bike, you think about what it's like to ride a bike, and it's no different from me. When I write a scene as a counter-terrorist thriller, I use my experiences.
Yeah, when you write a story with that kind of a plot line, and this one is that a thriller based on terrorism and all that, things that are in the headlines every day. I guess you use some of what's going on in real life to base the story around, but you add a little dramatic license to it. Is that a challenge for you? Or I guess there's so much out there now that people are kind of following. You have to really be accurate, don't you, when you do a story like this?
Yeah, I try to stay just as current as I can. And the problem with writing about current events is that they're current. And at any moment in time, I'm always biting my nails when the book gets published because something could happen that would completely alter the trajectory of the book. You can't predict what the world's going to do. For instance, my very first book, One Rough Man, dealt with Iran, and I thought, if we go to war with Iran, because we were doing the rumbling, the saber rattling back then, in 2011, we were talking about, maybe we'll attack them or whatever, and I thought, if they attack them, my book's irrelevant.
Yeah.
So you're constantly at the tension there, trying to keep track of, what you think's going to happen versus what actually does.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of a fluid situation. You may have the greatest plot line in the world, and real life can kind of take that away from you, I guess, right? With a story.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, explain the title, No Fortunate Son. I don't want to give too much away. I never like to do that with authors, so I'll let you give the plot line. What does the title mean?
Yeah, sure. I'll get the title as soon as I'll tell you what the plot line is, and the title will probably make more sense. The story came from Bo Bergdahl, actually, the man who went missing in Afghanistan.
Sure.
When he went missing, I was still serving the military, and we put an enormous effort to get him back. And I thought that he was kind of a nobody. I mean, he left the base under mysterious circumstances and wasn't famous or anything, but we still put the effort in. And I thought to myself, what would happen if somebody politically connected was actually taken? Because Senator McCain has a son in the Marine Corps, and Joe Biden's son was in the Navy, and the governor of South Carolina's husband's in the Army, that kind of thing. They're out there. And if they got taken, would that alter the calculus of what we did? And the basic storyline, the No Fortunate Son, is based on the Creedence Clearwater Revival song of Fortunate Son, which is an anti-war song. But in the song it says, I ain't no fortunate son, I'm no senator's son. Well, in this case, it's kind of a play on that, because the senator's son is now the one who is not so fortunate, because he's been captured.
I always thought, you're right, you bring up McCain's son, Biden's son, and several others. You never want that to happen, but they always thought, well, what happened if or even a president's son happened to be in the military, if they were captured? That is something to think about.
Yeah, well, the royal family, the United Kingdom's royal family, their son he served in Afghanistan. So
right.
There's a lot of the themes that I didn't plan this way, but, do we negotiate with terrorists? How much is one life worth? How much is this guy worth more than that guy? And now, unfortunately, James Foley was beheaded. That's on the center stage of the news right now. I didn't plan it that way, but the discussion of we should have paid a ransom, we should have done this, we should have done that. And those are the themes that are discussed in the book. We didn't do this for Bergdahl, why are we going to do it now type thing.
Well, when you sit down to write a novel, and of course this was your sixth one with the same character, does it get harder to kind of come up with these storylines, or does the character kind of evolve over the years of this series and you can take them in different directions?
It's actually, it depends on the book. Sometimes they come easy and sometimes they don't. This is actually the seventh book. The eighth book I'm writing now. is on the Islamic State, and that was easy. They blew up out of nowhere. I was doing research on them, and next thing you know, they'd taken over all of Iraq, and I thought, well, that's a no-brainer. I can do that. But current events, being what they are, I'm doing a book every 6 months now, so hopefully I can get this book out for something drastically changes on the Islamic State.
That's pretty prolific. 2 books a year. That's not easy to do, especially with fiction.
No, it's definitely a full-time job now.
Are you always kind of, I don't know how you work, with a little pocket recorder or taking down notes? Or what's your process for when you get a storyline? Just write down some quick notes and then flesh it out, or what do you do?
Well, I usually have, I don't outline per se, like each chapter or anything. I have no idea how many chapters will be in the book. And I do what I call a framework. I'll know the threat, and I'll know the general story arc. And it starts out looking like a road in the Kansas prairie, just flat and straight. And then as I start writing, it ends up looking like the road in the Appalachian switchbacks, Appalachian Mountains, because I think, hey, it'd be neat if this happened, and I end up boxing myself in a corner. But I carry a journal around with me everywhere I go, and I'm constantly jotting notes down or thinking of things or trying to fix things. It's a process that works that way. So I get kind of a framework, but then I go from there.
How about dialogue? You do a great job with that, and do you kind of talk that out, or how do you write dialogue?
I do dialogue just about exactly what, we all speak, we all know people, especially coming from the military. I've met people from every different socioeconomic, every piece of strata in the United States there is, and also overseas, tons of foreign cultures. So I just try to write exactly what I think this guy would say. What would he really say? And part of the challenge of that is sometimes those people aren't speaking grammatically correct. Those people don't speak grammatically correct. And then I'll have editors who want to change all that. This is not grammatically correct. Well, that's too bad. That's what he's going to say.
Right.
And change it back.
And there's also colorful language in the military, I understand, at times.
Yeah, actually, I learned that lesson because the military uses quite a bit of colorful language. And in my first book, I guess a little warning, For One Rough Man, there is quite a bit of colorful language, and I got a lot of email on that. And I thought, well, I guess the civilian world doesn't speak this way, and so I've toned it down quite a bit now.
Well, it's another one of the great stories you've written. This one's called No Fortunate Son, a Pike Logan thriller, the 7th in the series, and you said you have another one on the way out, and I've been talking with Brad Taylor today. Brad, give out a website, people get a hold of you or the book.
Sure, it's bradtaylorbooks.com, and they can actually read excerpts for any of the novels, No Fortunate Son included, and see if it's something they'd like to read.
Great. Brad, we look forward to talking to you when the next one comes out. Good luck with this one, and thanks for joining us today.
All right, thank you.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com.